November 10th, 2024. This is our regularly scheduled Rossmoor Community Service District Board meeting. I am calling this to order roughly at 7 o'clock. May we please have a roll call?
Good evening, directors. This is a roll call for Marianne Remnant.
Present.
Director Shade.
There.
Director Maynard. Oh, President Maynard, sorry.
Here.
Still President Maynard. Director DeMarco.
Here.
Director Searles, I can't see you behind
Here.
the tree.
Tonight, as you can tell, we have a special flag salute and holiday inspiration tonight. This is from the Musical Artistry Repertory Theater, also known as My Art. And My Art, please, why don't you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Thank you.
Yeah, great. Are they coming back? Oh, we're gonna see. It's gonna take 20 minutes. Wait a minute. Wait.
Thank you guys so much for coming out here. This is my art. Let's give them another hand.
Go ahead, yeah.
The red light, now it works. There we go. But we also want to give a big shout out to Brenna Hanlon, who is the director of this program for many years. And Janet also would like to say something.
Wow. You are awesome. Thank you for lifting us in our spirit of Christmas and making sure that your voices, please continue to do what you do because it puts a smile to all of us. That's so gorgeous. How fun is it?
Well, you're welcome back anytime because this has been the best kickoff of any meeting we've had. So thank you so much. I also have pins for you. You got a little bit of life to us. We're going to give you a little life. I'm going to have to go back and do my job here, but hand these out to everyone. Wear them with pride. Rossmoor loves you. Thank you. Okay, next up on our agenda tonight, we have our certification of election results and the swearing in of newly elected RCSD directors by our very own Senator and now Supervisor Janet Nguyen. Mr. Mendoza.
Thank you, President Maynard, members of the board. Thank you, girls, for tonight. We really appreciate it. I'd like to ask our newly elected Board of Supervisor for the First District, Janet Nguyen, to come up and to install some of our officers that are returning and our newly appointed officer, Director Marion Remnant. So, Janet, would you please do the honors?
I think the three of you should go down, and I think you and I should join them. Just to the side.
Raise your right hand.
That will be the last thing you have to get up and down.
Oh, I'm looking at ADA.
So, next up tonight, we have Orange County Sheriff's Department, our very own Captain A.J. Patella, who's going to present Community Safety Update. One of our top aims of a board and one of our most important values in this community is safety. So thanks for attending tonight, Captain. I did not turn it off.
It's not working.
There is a button.
Now we're good.
Now it's red. It's just going in and out tonight.
Well, I believe everybody got a copy of the report I'm going to refer to. Basically, for our new director, what I like to do is I like to compare real data, and that really drives our approach to things and when it comes to public safety. So what I did for this particular report is I compared the last 3 months of this year to the last 3 months of last year. And as you can see, our guys are doing a great job. I'll go line by line. I'll try to explain kind of the way the data is and why it is that way and my thoughts and concerns on it. So total calls to dispatch, which is basically calls into our dispatch 911 center and our business line, we're down actually 15% from 436 to 373. Total reports, which can be a variety of different things, trended down a little bit as well. A good sign, another thing we don't really have a lot of control over is crimes against persons. We don't have a lot last year, and we have even less this year. And those are usually isolated incidents within the family home or structure like that. You'll notice down towards the summary, one of them last year was that shooting out on Loch Lomond that caused a big ruckus in the community. So luckily we didn't have another one of those this year. And the one thing that really affects the community, which I like to really highlight, is the crimes against property and the crimes against society. A real sharp decline in that. And as you can see down towards the bottom, we went from 11 burglaries, including 5 residentials and 1 commercial, to 6 total. And most of those were kind of crimes of opportunity, breaking into vehicles. We still got to hit it home that not to leave valuable property on the front seat of your car. Occasionally, those are actually attempt stolen vehicles too, especially those newer pickup trucks that have kind of a high-tech, anti-theft system. But luckily, it gets stopped at just a window break-in. They can't get the car because the systems are so much better nowadays. One number I don't like to see trending down, which is suspicious activity calls. I actually like it when people call my dispatchers and my deputies come out and make contact with whoever calls. So I'm actually a big fan of when those at least trend.
Captain, if I may, I think your battery's out. He went to get another one. Can you take over here? Can you give a report from here? I can just talk louder. Okay, that's up to you. Yeah, either way.
But if you don't mind, Captain, because this is going to be rebroadcasted on,
And people really want to see that.
yeah, this is important, so
I think the
it will be on YouTube.
Still not? Oh, how about that? How about I just hold it?
Okay, all right.
Apparently when you set it down, it's got a motion detector on it or
Thank you.
something. Okay. So Yeah, so the work behind the scenes, people have to realize that that report that they file or choose not to file, it turns into something. It's not just a number to our department. We are constantly following leads and connecting the dots in these criminal enterprises, and that's basically what they are. And like I said, my guys take great pleasure in one of the main investigative tools that we use, which isn't present as much as I'd like to see it in this community, is like the license plate cameras. Bill and I have discussed different options on that. It really is the way of the future. If you don't know,
I think the battery's 9.
well, now I got to go to the thing because of the brown ag stuff. What's that? He's on? I don't think so. Okay, there you go. If you haven't heard of our real-time operations center, we basically opened that within the last year. That is kind of the trend of policing nationwide, is to get real-time data, and it affects not only the way we respond, but the way we investigate. These license plate readers are great in
Now, is this on? Yes. All right. I'm done.
These are real wires, so this will work.
Good Lord. I'm open to any questions. I'm going to stop there. I'm not having good luck tonight.
All right, we're going to start with our newest board director. Do you have any questions of the captain?
Just a casual one. How are you doing with package deliveries this holiday season? Any reports of porch pirates?
Well, actually, there hasn't been a lot of those reported, but I'm afraid that might be just the case, that they're not being reported because it's so easy to get. I buy stuff on Amazon all the time, and I can just go back on there, hey, package wasn't delivered, and send me a new one. So they might just think that's an easier way to go about it. So I would encourage people, regardless of what it is and how insignificant they may think it is, just report it.
Thank you.
Because those things really do lead to, like I said, when my investigators get working on these things, they tie these things. And if you remember that one presentation we gave about this time last year, that kind of giant chart from the DA's office linking all these different crimes, that came from one interrupted burglary in Rossmoor. All that stuff gets connected to all these other different crimes. Another thing I didn't want to miss over, but I got thrown off my game up there. A lot of people in the community are used to the sheriff's blotter, which is kind of basically just shows like a random overview of the basic calls for service in the community from a given week. Unfortunately, we've had some security/technical difficulties with that, and it's way beyond my understanding. But the blotter is not going to be functional for the foreseeable future. They're trying to work on a solution. There is a crime mapping website that provides fairly accurate data, but if that's not going to be operational, then I'm just going to look to report out maybe these type of reports a little more often. That way, at least we get some more information to the community. I don't want them to think that we don't have the numbers, but if I got to report out monthly, then I'll do that. So,
With this outage of the police blotter, how are other communities asking you to step up?
I don't know. Like I said, this is strictly
Because you got some big contract cities.
Correct, and honestly, I try to concentrate on my own. But it's a good question. I can ask that.
Yeah.
So, but it's a fairly recent development, and because we're trying to fix it, I think everybody's just kind of holding their breath, and hopefully that we can get something up and running.
Okay. Well, let's, if anything, see what Yorba Linda is asking and what you do for them. They're a pretty big city for you guys, so.
And for those type of cities, we report. My counterpart over there reports out monthly to them too. So
Okay.
maybe that's the preliminary solution.
All right. Director Shade.
I had a question regarding, excuse me, last month we had a couple of cars that were taken here in Rossmoor, the Teslas, the wheels were taken off of them and left on bricks. And there was also one that I saw that was in Los Alamitos, wasn't here in Rossmoor, so there was 3 that I know of. Is that a trend that's happening now?
And
Teslas?
I saw the same thing, and I did my research on it, and I could not find any other incidents in any data set from all of, like I said, we have a mess of contract cities and patrol areas, not one other than those. So to me, it was a very isolated incident. It's kind of stood out though, but we haven't seen one before or since.
Huh,
And then we
okay.
can kind of consider it one incident because it was 2 cars at the same
Right.
same time. So it's just a very odd, and why go after a Tesla that has all that technological recording and stuff? So maybe it was just a lapse of judgment from that criminals. I honestly
Okay.
don't know.
I don't know anything about Tesla, so are you saying the Tesla actually caught the person? Or
Well,
provided you evidence of who took the?
Tesla has a lot of technological capabilities,
Wow.
including I think they call it guardian mode, where there's I forget how many cameras, but there's a lot of cameras, and we have access to that footage. So
There were so
should
many-
the car owner give it to us, but it's never been denied.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, I don't know, there was so many questions when we all saw that, going around Rossmoor and with the technology, and is this a new thing for Tesla, like anybody who owns a Tesla, but you're saying, no, that is not the case?
No, not with Teslas. It's not a Rossmoor thing, but in like airport parking garages and stuff like that, tires are getting stolen off of vehicles there. But like I said,
Good to know, okay.
it's because of long-term parking, right?
Right.
It kind of makes sense.
Okay, well, thank you.
But
Direct-
unless we're putting in a landing strip somewhere here, we're good for that.
Yeah, all right.
Director Searles?
Thank you, Captain. Has the sheriff made any guidance or recommendations after Proposition 36 passing as how policing might take place from the sheriff's directive?
Basically, my guys are going to be a little more active. Matter of fact, before here, I came from a briefing. We actually released kind of our guidance as a department, and the DA's office has done the same thing. It's just new rules, basically. I mean, it's no different than any other new law. It's just going to give my guys a little more tools in their tool belt to be able to do a lot more enforcement. But it's not really for crime that is necessarily affects Rossmoor as much. That's more in a different type of community where there's more, quality of life type crimes. It's not a huge problem in Rossmoor. Our problem is we want to make sure that the bad guys from LA aren't coming in here and taking your guys' stuff. So that's our main concern here. But it's going to be a great tool. My guys they're excited about it. They've been, waiting for something like that ever since, we'll just say past props and legislation was passed years ago that kind of tied our hands a bit. So we're excited about the change. There'll be some growing pains because there's a lot of different nuances to the new laws, but it's going to be interesting.
Would the sheriff or someone who's more familiar with the license plate reader cameras be able to come out and kind of educate the community as to how that's used, the retention of things like that?
Absolutely. Yeah, we can. We have a whole technological division that can help explain that, and if you can also, if you reach out to any of their companies, the companies are obviously they're a business. They'll be happy to come out and do a presentation for you, and they've done it for many of our other cities.
Thank you, Captain.
You bet.
Happy holidays.
Wait, one more, Director DeMarco?
No, I think they're going to switch oh,
I'm keeping the seat. I like the spot.
no, stay there. How you doing, Captain?
It suits you, it suits you.
Captain, how long does it take you to go get home? Over an hour, right?
It's going to be a while.
Yeah. So I just want the community to know that our captain is here. He comes here all the time, pretty much every meeting we have. And he doesn't have to. He can just have a lieutenant come, but our captain comes and gives the community updates. You can, before the meeting, even after, you can come and talk to him. And I think that that's a very, very big asset, and we want to thank you for doing that. I know Director Searles brought it up. We did bring up the license plate readers at our traffic committee, and I would love to have more, just someone from your department or the manufacturers, just to answer the public's concerns about, their how that information is shared, but also what you're able to catch and how you're able to, because it's like a net over Orange County now, because there's so many of these license plate readers, because I hear about it all the time, City of Stanton and on Beach Boulevard and everything, where you can place cars, especially bad actors. So it's been working, and it's been a huge tool for you guys, right, to catch bad guys, right?
Absolutely, a great tool.
And again, and in Rossmoor, it's kind of like a whole. There is no cameras here in Rossmoor yet, and I think we want to have that discussion. So that would be great if someone from your department or the manufacturer people, if we could set that up.
Why not both?
And thank you for this report. I know over the many years, one thing that it would upset a lot of us would be our catalytic converters being stolen, and I see in 2024, I don't see many here, which is amazing. So that's fantastic, and keep up the good work. Tell all your deputies to keep up the good work. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Happy holidays.
As well, thank you very much, Captain. You are our de facto chief of police of Rossmoor, and we appreciate you. Thanks. So this now brings us to public forum. Any person may address the board of directors at this time upon any subject within the jurisdiction of the Rossmoor Community Service District. However, any matter that requires action may be referred to staff at the discretion of the board for a report and action at a subsequent, that's always a hard word for me, subsequent board meeting. Do we have anyone who would like to address us at this time?
Yes, come on up, President Maynard. I'm sorry, I was going to say something to the captain here.
Oh, okay.
And to the board. Regarding the license plate readers, there was a recent article in Orange County Register that Supervisor Wagner funded a large sum of money to a number of districts and cities putting up license plate readers. So we've been waiting for the new supervisor to come on board, and we will be meeting with her to see if we can get some funding and some activity there to help us.
Okay. We have a agenda item where
Yes.
the traffic committee is going to
Go over that.
tonight talk about this with us?
Right.
Okay, good.
But I wanted to piggyback on Captain's comments, yeah.
Is he still here?
He just walked out. We're good.
Sorry about that.
We're good.
So Marine Waters,
Good evening.
yes.
Good evening. My name's Maureen Waters. And first of all, I just want to take a minute or second to congratulate Director Searles, Director DeMarco, and Director Remne on your election. I'm hoping now that the election is over, all the mudslinging is done, that the Board of Directors and the community can come together and unite. So congratulations, and let's just unite. And then also regarding the captain, there was a couple meetings ago where I felt like I wasn't seeing the sheriff around, and I kind of said something to him, and he got a little defensive, but I was going to thank him because I'm sure it's my imagination, but in the last few months, there really has been more of a sheriff presence in the neighborhood, so I want to thank him for that. So now if we could just get the CHP to have a presence in the neighborhood regarding traffic issues, running stop signs, speeding, the usual, things would be great in Rossmoor. So thank you, and good luck again, board. Thank you.
Thank you, Maureen. Okay, that brings us to item D1, RCSD Programs and Services Satisfaction Survey Update. Mr. Mendoza.
Thank you, President Maynard. I'd like to turn this over to our Administrative Assistant, Carolyn Wang. She's been spearheading this project, and it's up and running, and she'll give you some updates on how the survey is going.
Good evening, directors. So it's been about a week since our survey was out to the public, and as of the writing of this report, December 5th, we only had 12 responses, but I'm happy to report as of today we have 120. So we are hopping.
That's a big jump.
Yeah, I think so too. And with the festival coming up on Saturday, we're going to have the QR code out there at the booth, and we're
Great.
going to be handing out flyers, getting people to really get out there and let us know what they think. And so far, I took a little peek at the results just to see how things are going, and it looks like most people are fairly satisfied.
Okay.
So
I was
far,
ready to
so
say,
good.
No, I don't want to hear yet. I want to wait till it's done. No surprises. Okay. Director Remnant, do you have any comments or questions on our survey for our staff?
No, it's
Nope.
Remne too, thank you.
What did I say?
You say Remnet, and everybody does. It's Remne.
Remne?
Remne, like Ballet Chevrolet.
Remne.
The T is silent.
The T is silent.
Yeah.
Remne. Ballet. Okay. My daughter's a ballerina, so, okay. Director Shape?
No, I look forward to having our survey taken at the event on Saturday, so look for some more responses on that.
Yeah.
Director Searles?
Thank you, Carolyn.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Thank you as well. Do you have any, we've had an uptake, obviously, because the first 12 coming in trickled in. Do you have any things to indicate why you think we got a little boost at the end?
I think in the very beginning, it was just because it was out there on Instagram and Facebook, and then a couple days later, I put it on Constant Contact, which is an email database, and we also added it to Rec Desk.
I noticed that connection on social media wasn't working.
On Instagram, you have to cut and paste the link
Right,
into a
it's-
browser.
Oh, that's too hard.
Exactly.
But on
Yeah.
Facebook, there's an actual link that you just click on.
Yeah.
There was a click on
I
a
think
link
the
button
one on
in
Facebook
Constant
wasn't-
Contact.
Yeah, so that was the issue.
I think email works.
And it's also on the website.
Yeah.
Okay.
Email is the best.
Thank you, Carolyn. Next, report from the Ad hoc Traffic Safety Committee. Deja vu, we just talked about that.
Yeah, thank you, President Maynard, members of the board. We met on November 21st. We had Directors DeMarco and I believe Director Searles was in attendance. And we discussed a number of items related to traffic and safety. Wei Zhu, the senior traffic engineer from Orange County Public Works, attended and was very helpful in answering questions and just in general being cooperative with how to proceed when we would like to make a change within our district and what a resident can do to make a change. And I will probably ask directors to pitch in here because they were very involved in this meeting. We did have one resident, Kevin Boylan, lives on Montecito, come and talk about some issues that he thought very strongly about, and that's the streets around Rossmoor Elementary School, and especially the 4-lane highway in front of the Rossmoor Elementary School on Montecito. If you go around, I'm sorry, our projector isn't working tonight. If you go around the school, it's a 1-lane. And apparently, years before, it was a 4-lane. And for some reason, there's no history or no records of when it changed, but residents remember it as being a 4-lane. Kevin's been there for years. He remembers it being a 4-lane, and it went down to a 2. And he feels it was for safety reasons, just like they made that change on Bradbury years ago. And so he's requesting that the traffic engineer look at Montecito along that stretch from, I believe, help me here, directors, from from Shakespeare to Bostonian, yes. And so she told him that how to go about that, take a quick survey of your neighbors, have them maybe send some information in to her that they're in favor of that, maybe him take a quick poll. Not that that is the deciding factor, but it doesn't hurt. And the other takeaway from this meeting was we pointed out that there's a lot of cars ignoring signals, just rolling the stop signs. And so our request was to put some blinking stop signs. Wei Zhu, the traffic engineer, wasn't totally opposed to it, but she had some apprehension because of the blinking lights going in neighbors' homes and things. So she asked me to come up with a map of what those areas might be and to to see if we can mitigate that concern about blinking lights going into somebody's window, and if they would mind that, or if we can put it in a position to where it wouldn't, I guess, intrude on their privacy or when they're in their house. So we're looking at that, and I will be also giving the board here first a crack at a map. I will outline a couple areas where I think we have concerns, ask you for your input in adding stop signs, adding the blinking lights, and maybe adding some 25-mile-an-hour blinking lights like we have in Montecito. I can see a number of opportunities on Foster and Martha Ann, especially with our flood control channels. If you look at them, they're mostly on curves, and there's no houses that really would be affected by a 25-mile-an-hour sign, electronic one. So I'm looking at all that, and I will give the board an opportunity to give input. We'll give it back to Wazoo, and we'll ask her to consider some of those areas. But with that, Directors DeMarco and Sears, did I miss anything?
No, Joe, you didn't. So we had a very good meeting. And, I encourage residents when they have issues to come to these committee meetings because, like, Joe just said, Kevin, so we had a resident that lives on a corner or lives across from Rossmoor Elementary who, and again, I tell people take pictures too because that helps certainly influence our, county folks. But he had pictures of a Saturday or a Sunday soccer, the kids' soccer YSL that plays at the school, and he had a picture of a gentleman trying to get into his truck in a wheelchair where he was in a traffic lane. And he's in a traffic lane because we have 4-lane highway on Montecito. So it's the same discussion that we had a year and a half ago with the idea of would it make it safer, because it's all about safety on Montecito. Cars go too fast on Montecito, they run stop signs, but do we really need a 4-lane road? And the option that we are discussing, that we discussed a year and a half ago, is similar to what is on Bradbury, where you have a middle lane and then two, and it gives a buffer area next to the parked cars. And it was nice having Wazoo there because she's very, very bright, and she controls all of the traffic decisions in Rossmoor. But she was saying that she was suggesting that there might need to be a traffic plan on those weekends because there are a lot of people that go there, a lot of cars that park there. They double park, and if there was maybe some cones at some of the corners, it might help the short-term problem, which is people. It's kind of unsafe. Kids crossing the street and double parking, getting in and out of the cars, and being a 4-lane road. So we discussed all of that. We did discuss the blinking stop signs. And I guess her suggestion was, why don't you give us some intersections and we'll take a look at them. I suggested, why don't we just do an intersection and just see how impactful, because there's a lot of technology in the stop signs and in traffic control that we might be able to utilize. Certainly the blinking lights they don't have to blink bright, they can blink softly, I've seen them to where as an approaching car comes, it starts blinking. Okay, so I've talked to so we had Kevin who lives Bostonian, Montecito. I've talked to the owner at Foster and Bostonian, who's lived there for 30 years, and that's his biggest pet peeve is people just fly by, And will a flashing stop sign, help? It probably will. We certainly need more, to what Maureen said, more enforcement. We need someone that, if you get a few tickets, write a couple tickets for running that stop sign, it might help also. But to me, a lot of the stop signs, especially on Montecito, they just get, it's dangerous, because I've witnessed it many, many times. So those were the two big things. Director Searles, anything else?
I would add the summary from Mr. Mendoza and Carolyn in the agenda is very accurate. One item is the additional stop signs that are being placed at Donis and
Yes.
Quail Run
Yeah.
was due to accidents. That's not like a resident asks for a stop sign. It was because it was a, unmetered intersection, and they had, I believe, 2 or 3 accidents, and hence they say, look, there's no controlling of traffic here, so we need a stop sign. The other item I would say is that Way did a great job of explaining the speed limit on Montecito and why it's 35 and the inability to change it to 25 just because we want to. And the first layer to that was if it's safe at 35 plus, then if they drop the speed limit to 25, those tickets would not be enforceable in court, and the sheriff or the CHP would have a fit that they're tasked with enforcing a law that would never actually stand up in court, because the average speed being above 35 safely means it shouldn't go down to 25. So she explained that really well, but what she explained further to that was if we want the speed limit to be 25 there, it's to change the engineering and to narrow the street to now where the average speed goes down to 32, then she can make the speed limit 25 because now it's come under 35s. And so the way to get the speed limit lower is to get people to start driving slower, and then that can cause them the ability to actually drop the speed. So I thought that was great how she explained it in saying, I can't make the speed limit lower first. I have to make the road traffic slower first through engineering, and then you can get the speed limit lowered. I also appreciated that she said the county's been working, even though we haven't had a lot of activity with the county over these issues, they actually have been discussing them this entire past year. And she was very, I think, appreciative that we were having a meeting and she was coming, because she wanted us to know she was still doing a lot of work and she's waiting for us for direction still. She hadn't said, okay, things didn't really go anywhere and I threw it all away, but rather, okay, let Rossmoor think a little bit more about this, and if there's a consensus, then we can go with it. If there's not a consensus, don't expect any action, because a safe spot for her and the county is to not do anything rather than to change something and have people revolt. And that is unfortunately the issue, is a minority complaining will be more devastating to anything getting done than what might be popular. It needs to have a strong consensus of support before they're going to take any action. But otherwise, the summary from Carolyn and Joe is very accurate as to what the meeting was like.
Yeah, very well said, Director Searles. Yeah, it's amazing that if the average speed on a street is 37, they do a traffic study and 37, you can't put a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. It won't hold up in court. It's on a residential street, which is Montecito's a residential street. So, to what Director Searles, so if we wanted to reduce, 2 lanes, narrow, because by narrowing, just by putting lines on the road, it slows people down. To get that average speed down, then the county would be behind lowering the speed limit.
I'm going to hold my thought, and I'm going to start with Director Shade this time.
That's very interesting information. It's crazy how that works. I think the stop signs would be helpful for sure. I would like to see us moving in that direction, and hopefully we can get that going.
More stop signs, or more stop signs and flashing?
Flashing.
Okay.
I like the flashing idea for sure, because I think they do work. I am concerned about them being intrusive in residents' homes, especially that live around there. I know how bright they are. And it can be a problem for us in that area, but I'm hopeful that we can work around it.
Director Renee? Did I do
Yep.
better that time?
You did great.
Okay, just want to make sure.
It's the same way as my husband's.
All right.
I have no comments
Okay.
or questions, other than thank you for your work on this committee and the report.
Thank you.
Now, I have a comment about this 25 mile per hour, and I might need your help, Counselor. When the law passed, the whole point of the law, at least when I saw it being publicized about a year and a half ago, was that you didn't require public works or traffic safety or anything, that if a governing agency decided in the public interest to slow things down, they don't have to do the studies. They don't have to do all the requirements that used to be in line to make such changes. And the city of Long Beach designated a whole bunch of streets that said, okay, great, forget public works, forget all the money we have to do in studies. As a city council, they voted, and they voted to have, 30-something% of their streets down to 25%. Now, Wazoo is saying, well, it has to do with tickets holding up in court, and I hear all that, and it still just sounds wrong to me, that I thought the whole point of the new law was that if an affected legislative body wanted to make that decision, and to us, that was our supervisor. Our supervisor, which, is in jail or about to be in jail or something like that, didn't understand the law part and just threw it back to Public Works. But again, Counselor, that law on speed limit reduction by community, if our supervisors wanted to lower it to 25, doesn't that just happen with them voting on that?
So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know exactly how that works. I could get back to you summarizing how that law works and what discretion we have as far as changing the limits. I am aware that exactly what you were describing, that the purpose is to, before it was essentially extremely difficult.
It was algorithms and formulas of
Right.
actuaries and all this stuff that came in to be able, no, you can't. Sorry, your people speed, you can't lower it, or now you
Correct,
can.
but you are correct in saying that the law was recently changed. I don't remember all the exact details,
Okay.
but the law was changed to make it easier for local jurisdictions to lower the speed limit under certain circumstances. What I don't know offhand is what those circumstances are.
Yeah. And we recognize we're not the jurisdiction, but we do have a supervisor, we do have a traffic committee, and at one point, our board did vote that we would, for the interest of public safety, if we could have it done for us, we'd prefer 25. And I am going to echo something you said, Director Marco, and I've said this before and I'll say it again. There is no place in Rossmoor for 4-lane highways. This is such a small community, and if we can get Wazoo or our supervisors to reduce lanes, that in itself would end up slowing things down, but there's no place for a 4-lane highway in Rossmoor. And I also agree we do need more stop signs. It's sad that it took 3 accidents to get their attention. And maybe we can find and specify the stop lines that do have adjustments, so it's not a blaring neon red that, blinds people. So, thank you very much, committee. Thanks for presenting this back to us. This brings us to our consent calendar. Consent items are expected to be routine, non-controversial, to be acted upon the board of directors at one time. If any board member requests that an item be removed from the consent calendar, it shall be removed so that it can be acted upon separately. With our consent calendar, do we have any of our directors who would like to break it up?
So I wasn't here last month, so I either, do we remove the minutes to vote it separately, or I just
So
abstain?
you legally can participate, even though you were not here.
Oh.
You would certify the minutes, but it's your choice.
And you could also abstain.
Yeah.
Correct.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, anyone else? Is there a motion to accept our consent?
So moved.
Second?
There's a second. Okay, all in favor of accepting our consent, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Nay? Any nays? No? Is there an abstain?
I'll abstain.
I'll abstain.
Okay, so that goes down 3 ayes and 2 abstain.
Yeah.
Moving along, regular calendar. We're going to review and approve Kaiser Medical Insurance renewal for the year 2025. Mr. Mendoza.
Yes, thank you. President, Mayor, members of the board. The Personnel and Contract Committee recently met, and it was comprised of Director DeMarco and Director Shade, who stepped in for
Thank you for stepping in.
for President Maynard. We reviewed our contract with Kaiser, and we're making a recommendation tonight to approve the group plan for 2025. The background is, on an annual basis, Kaiser Permanente comes out with a new premium and gives you a couple months' notice to do research, make any adjustments to your plan, and to give them feedback by January 15th of the following year. So we have until January 15th of 2025 to make any adjustments. However, we requested the assistance from the ADP, who does a lot of our payroll, and they have a program where they will assist at no cost to us and research and give us feedback and on competitive, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Premiums from other companies.
Open market
Yeah,
comparisons.
and so they did an open market comparison, and I believe it's on page 49. And then on page 48 is the increase in our monthly and annual premium this year. They're requesting a 7.80 increase, which goes from $111.96 to $8,744.96 per year. The issue that we have, and that I want to bring to the board, is that we have a policy, and our policy states that we provide medical, dental, and vision coverage for a spouse or dependents at the option of the individual employee. So we provide full coverage. And what we did was we did a market comparison, and we looked at if there was any other options. And there is, however, because Kaiser has a grandfather clause, and our coverage is within that grandfather clause, making a move would be probably price competitive, but the coverage would be less. So our employees would have to pay a higher premium for deductibles and for, I guess,
And copays.
co-pays and things like that. So we felt that it's wise to make a decision this year to accept their premium, for the board to fund our employees, and maybe next year, at the beginning of the year, January, February, March, to have the committee meet again and to look at the discrepancies and disparities within our internal process. The discrepancies are, it's all based on age, right? And if some employees have younger children, or some employees have an older spouse, whatever, some premiums are so high and some are so low that it's a disparity for the employee, that some people are getting a higher premium and they're not. So the options are, and this is something we'll look at, is to set a ceiling and let the employees know, hey, in 2026, each of you will get a $8,000, $5,000, whatever limit, and from there on, you have to make up the difference for your spouse or for your children that year. But we felt it was fair to give at least 8 to 10 months of notice to those employees so they can start looking at other premiums themselves or make adjustments within their budget to cover those areas. So I think there's a number of options. We discussed this. You can keep it the same, we can put a ceiling on it, and we can continue looking at the market. But with that, I'll ask Director Shade or Director DeMarco to make any comments, and then open it for questions.
Well, I think we discussed the options, for the staff members that, but I know we do want to make sure we give them a heads up, at least the 8 to 10 month duration, so that they can figure out what they want to do. Also, with that being said, I feel like we do need, first rule of thumb is getting our own here, excuse me, our policies and whatnot updated to make sure that we are following suit and doing everything accordingly. I think that was I think that's what we decided to do first and foremost.
Tony?
Remember, I asked you, we did the cap, or we did a ceiling on something else, Michael. What was it? I'm
It
just.
wasn't on benefits. It was.
No, it was something else where we had a 10,000. So I just want to let the board know, looking
401K contribution.
401K. So I think we're going to have to do something, okay? Because to Joe's point, this is monthly. Okay, that's what we're paying a month, right, Joe? These quotes?
Yes, and, the discussion surrounded, one, it's a benefit to the employee. Two is, as our employers age, or their dependents age, it's going to go up. And we got to figure out a way to stop the bleeding and to protect the district. And one of the other ways we talked about was put a ceiling on it and grandfather the existing employees in, and if we get any new employees, to do
Cap
that.
it.
We
to cap
talked
it,
about
yeah.
doing that,
Right.
because, but, in the report, it's 7.8% increase. We cannot continue to absorb a 7.8. Just a few years ago, it was $5,000 a month. And now we're looking at 82.
8.7.
Yeah. So, we discussed this in the meeting, that, we can't every year have an 8% increase. I don't know if we're going to continue to do that, but it's, it's going up drastically. And, some of the employees it's pushing $3,000 a month. Okay, so it's just, we can't continue to absorb all of this. So but we can't just turn it off. So we discussed exactly what Joe just said, is next year, we got to change our policies, or discuss first what the plan is, and then change the policy to, what the board is comfortable doing. And, but it's just a lot of money every month.
So I want to summarize to make sure. So what we're saying, or what the committee has said, is that our current premium and our policies that we currently have are not sustainable, and that continue this year, but develop new policies, and through open enrollment, figure out a new benefit package for our employees.
Pretty much.
I just want to make sure I clarity. is
Nutshell
what-
version.
Well, I wouldn't, can I clarify? I wouldn't say they're not sustainable. It's a choice the board would make whether you want to sustain it. It's a matter of making a choice of putting a cap on it, grandfathering the current employees in,
Okay.
and then, yeah.
Okay. So are we right now in an open enrollment? And I know personal insurance, corporate insurance, I don't know how government agency insurance, is there an open enrollment for agencies like us to evaluate?
That's what we
Or
just-
at any time, can we just look at it corporately as a benefits package, and let's make changes for next year and start working on it now?
Right now, we're in open enrollment till January 15th.
Which isn't a lot of time, so I understand. Okay. Those are my comments for now. I'll start with Director Remney.
The only question I have is, and I understand and I appreciate all of the effort that's gone into this, and I think you have to make a decision in light of what you've said, particularly since we have such long-standing employees. Have they been asked about any preferences as to the options?
They've never had an option before, if I'm correct.
You mean what type of insurance?
Well, everyone's got to recognize prices are going up. And so if there are different ways to go in terms of capping or changing or what they're going to do, did any of the, and it doesn't look like that factored into this decision, and I don't necessarily think it should be, but I think moving forward before we do something next year, particularly since we have some 20-year employees, that be part of the discussion in the committee before you start looking at it, because they've been here so long. But I trust what you're doing, and I think it's great. And so this is more of a comment for moving forward.
I think on this particular, so the current coverage they have is the grandfathered one. There was a more inexpensive one, but it was less insurance.
Oh, I think you've made a good
Yeah,
choice in it.
yeah. So I think the employees would choose their grandfathered one. And that's what we're recommending to stay with, is the grandfathered one.
Yeah, I think I'm just asking for next year because some changes likely will have to be made. Factor in preferences, not necessarily choosing what they say, but getting some feedback from them.
Okay. Director Searles?
I don't really have anything to add, other than I just want to make sure this is included
That was me, I think.
in our mid-year budget adjustment, because it seems that will change
Yeah.
that particular item.
Yes.
So that's all. Thank you.
Okay. So tonight, by resolution, and the resolution that's in front of us to vote on tonight, is to renew this current policy that we've had for decades. But we all recognize that a change in a new plan is worth pursuing for next year.
There's no resolution.
Was this just a first reading?
No, this is we're asking the board to approve the premium for the Kaiser renewal for 2000.
Oh, review, oh, it's not a resolution. Okay, is there a motion to approve the Kaiser Medical Insurance renewal for 2025?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'm going to take Joe's second. Just since she was at the meeting, and we know that way the two people in the committee are tied together, no dissent. Okay. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay.
Thank you. We will notice,
Thank you.
will give notice to Kaiser, and yes, Director Searles, we plan on putting that in the mid-year for the adjustment.
Okay, takes us to now a resolution. This is number 24-12-10-0 on a rejection of government claim. Mr. Mendoza, sorry.
With a T, Remne, okay? President Maynard, members of the board, this is a formality. As you know, we get these claims, and they're traditionally rejected and then handed over to the second tier of review by Carl Warren Association. So, and a company, and CGPIA is our insurance authority, but then they reject it and give it to Carl Warren. They investigate it more, and they usually even make some kind of, decision on how much to provide or to deny the claim in its entirety. So tonight I'm asking you to reject resolution 20. I'm asking you to reject government claim 2412-10-01 and turn it back over to the Carl Warren and Company.
So by this resolution, if we approve, it rejects the claim and gets kicked back to an insurance company to figure out what they owe this individual.
Right.
Which is,
Correct.
again, so this particular case went through some kind of process to come back to us again.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll open it up for questions. Director Renner?
Okay.
No? Director Shea, do you have any questions?
I do not.
Director Searles?
I just want to clarify that the actual resolution before us would remove the reference to Director Barkey in the, whatever, the outcome would include Director Rimney.
Okay.
Help me here, Director Searles. Where do you
Correct.
see
The
that?
resolution would indicate the correct directors.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Director DeMarco?
No,
Okay. Would someone please make a motion by referencing the title of the resolution and numbers, please?
So move resolution number 2412-1001, rejection of government claim.
Second, please.
I'll second.
May we please have a roll call?
Roll call vote, Director Remney,
Yes.
Director Shade,
Aye.
Director DeMarco,
Aye.
Director Searles,
Aye.
President Maynard.
Aye. Moving along, I love this. We had great entertainment to get us in the Christmas spirit and a fast-moving meeting tonight. General manager items.
Okay, thank you, President Maynard, members of the board. I'm going to go down a number of items that I have to report to you tonight. But before I even get started, Chris sent me a text this afternoon that isn't included in this report that I want to give you a heads up on. This Thursday, December 12th at 9:30, UCI Health will be providing a lecture here in the auditorium. And as you know, we've been trying to build up our senior programs, either educationally or socially, and we have a number of classes we put on there through NOCE, as you approved, and they're going okay. We have 5, 8, 3, 10, 12 sometime in the classes, and we're starting to build up. We're starting to build up a database and secure more people in our programs. But we've been working with Los Al Medical Center, and you know that UCI took them over, and so we made a relationship with them. And this Thursday, I'm happy to report that there'll be a doctor, and I'm going to really butcher her name, Ram Kamir, who will be giving a lecture on overactive bladders, if you're interested. And engaging in presentation covers the signs and symptoms of overactive bladders, gender differences, impact on quality of life, causes, diagnosis, management, and a question and answer time. We'll have some snacks out, but to date we have 85 people registered.
Wow.
And a lot of residents, it's a combination of residents and non-residents, but we've built that relationship with now UCI. The Los Al Medical Center was putting them on, and we were getting 10 to 20 people come in for some of the lectures, but to get 80 or above is huge.
What time is that, Joe?
9:30, okay? So
Was it their marketing, their outreach
Both.
program?
Yeah,
It was both?
yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, did you say this was Rossmoor residents and outside Rossmoor?
Yes. Yes. Who is that?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yes.
So, yeah, so that's this Thursday. So we're really happy that, we're hitting the ground running with UCI, and we're really
Nice.
thankful they're going to use our facilities and make it available. On another note, we put in a request for funding back in 2021 to FEMA. And I think Director Searles might remember there was another application we put in, and we were awarded, I forget how much money. It was a good chunk of money. It was like $60,000 or $40,000, but it was a good chunk by another organization. And so I thought that this application we had put in kind of died because we were granted money and funds from another agency. However, I continually wrote emails and sent emails off about what's going on with this, what's going on with this. And FEMA changed a number of employees over the years, and a lot of their programs were put aside or just, they kind of faded away. So the last person I was put in touch with had taken over for the gentleman I was initially working with, and we started the process up again. And on Thursday, I have a meeting with them to fill out some forms that we need to fill out, and they're guaranteeing me so far $19,000 rebate.
Nice.
And that's a good, nice, but COVID hit us, and I'm telling you, you have no idea how many agencies are behind the 8 ball on keeping up with things, so with turnovers and things like that. So I'm just grateful that we got a good possibility of getting this $19,000. Kind of other notes, we've been keeping our facilities up to date. Rush Park recently replaced the big bridge out there. You know that big bridge? Well, kids come at night, and it is what it is. A lot of high school kids come and bounce on it and have a good time. And over the couple years, it weakened it. And it's still under warranty, so the company graciously brought another bridge out. The hit to us was we had to pay for the installation, but it's up to standard. There were some gaps in it, and if you don't watch and you don't measure those gaps, they can be dangerous to little kids getting their hands or their feet or even their head caught in some of those gaps. So it's all up to snuff right now, and it's doing well. Same thing with the slide at Rossmoor Park. Had a crack in it due to overuse. We bought a new slide and had it installed. First round of general manager recruitment interviews was done on December 3rd. We have our second round this coming Monday at begin at 5:30, 6:30, and 7:30, and we look forward to having the whole board there I hope to interview and make a selection if possible. Currently in discussion with E.D. Bailey. This is an accounting firm that will take over the expiring contract of Michael Matsumoto. E. Bailey currently oversees accounting responsibilities for LAFCO. I'm sure you're all familiar with LAFCO. If you looked at online, I studied a number of districts and agencies that are our size. If you look at LAFCO online, they almost mirror our budget and our staffing. It's uncanny, except they don't. We take in some more money on a daily basis. They don't have. They get dues, and so on an annual basis they get a number of dues they have to account for. But we have a lot more action. So I found this company that is well known by districts. I found them through the CSDA and did my research on them. So far, we would, if we entered into an agreement with them, we would save $17,000 annually. Our contract is being drafted for review by council and will be presented to the board January 14th. Michael Matsumoto has agreed to stay on till the end of February, so that would, if the board approved this contract, Michael would have time to train and have some give and take with their staff. They do have local staff. They have a number of unincorporated districts that I will present to you at the board, but I will also be sending, as soon as I get the contract from Tarquin and them solidified, I'll send that to you so you can study it as soon as I can, so that we're not sneaking up on you in January.
Will there be a representative from Eddie?
Yes.
Is that how you pronounce it, Eddie or Edie?
Yes.
Edie Bailey will
Edie Bailey,
be
yes.
here for questioning? Okay.
Yes. They do have local representatives that will be servicing us that have great experience, and their resumes are really good. So I'm confident that they can take over the accounting portion of and save us some money. And I'll give this out to you, but some of the research we did, one of the ones that stood out was another special district. It was the Hallandale district in California. And I talked to their general manager, and they were happy with the way things were going. And they're familiar with Black Mountain and everything we do. So I will give that. I will get that to you as soon as I can. Tarquin drew up an agreement, and it's been sent over to Eddie Bailey's attorneys for review. And the agreement should be a slam dunk, because it's the same agreement that LAFCO has. We just updated to meet our needs. Okay. Next up, arborist Mary Kingman is working with residents that do not have a tree. We started out with 40, and we're down to 10. We hope to, those 10 are pretty adamant that they don't want a tree. I'm working with Tarquin on the legality of it and giving them what they're asking for, and it's a great request, and we have no problem giving it to them. What they're asking to dig it a little deeper and let us know how we got the authority, when we got the authority, and why should we be able to mandate they have a tree. And we can back all that up with county resolutions and some of our policies. So I'm getting ready to put that together. the first round of trees that will be planted will be done now in December. Second round will be in January, but I want to give those people the opportunity to give them the input, maybe meet with the tree committee again if they want to come in and voice their opinion. Some of them are pretty adamant, and we need to listen to them, but if we decide we're going to put them in a tree in January, we need to start moving on that.
So 30 have agreed?
Yep. Yeah.
Great.
I welcome them to come to our board
Yeah.
meeting and not just a tree, because I've always wondered what the fear is of a tree. And I would love to actually hear what they have to say, because you get to pick the tree, you get to work with us, meaning our staff and our botanists. For a community our size, actually, to have a botanist is pretty cool. I've always wondered what the fear of a tree is. I understand, well, what if it creates sap? Well, pick a tree that doesn't produce sap. We have a list of trees. If you're elderly and you can't take care of it, we will. So I welcome, because I really want to know what the fear of tree is for a resident.
I think a few of them just have it completely covered with concrete.
And those ones there, I understand, okay, there physically, we can't put a tree. There is an obstacle in the way. I get those type of things, but the people who say, I just don't want a tree, it's like, well, what are you scared of? I would like to hear what they have to say.
The residents that have the concrete,
So-
I don't think it's a permitted concrete. I don't think you can,
Well, I don't, yeah,
so there's a little, but I agree with you.
so, sorry about that. Continue, Mr. Mendoza.
Okay, so, yeah, there's a number of reasons, and I think we owe it to them to hear them out.
Yeah.
And the goal is to get 100%, you know. If you look down the street, that one of our comes back going to be 90% of the people on your street, or 99% have a tree. You know, it's our policy. Why would you be any different? So there might be some circumstances, but we can talk about those. Anyway, you're all invited. I've booked a seat for you for this coming Friday to the Los Alamitos Holiday Chamber Breakfast.
And it's here,
It's here,
physically here?
right.
Nice.
And
At what time?
the high school choir will be performing in their dance team, 8:30,
7:30.
7:30?
7:30 to 9.
Oh, wow.
That's an early breakfast.
I thought
Very
it
early,
was,
but it's an amazing.
it's an amazing performance.
Yeah, if you haven't been, and I urge everyone to come, because it's just an absolute delight, having the Los Al High School entertainment.
Yeah, so far, I think we have 70 registrants, so,
Okay.
okay.
And that's 7:30
It's a-
here.
If Joe said, I don't have it in front of me, but
I trust
7:30,
Joe
Joe?
Shade on these things.
I'll get it, I'll make sure we confirm it with you,
All right.
okay?
Times. Good breakfast.
The Rossmoor Park Canopy Project, we have these schematics. We're reviewing them. They're going to plan check probably this week. We've had some hiccups with some of the footings and some of the areas that, you know, the engineer was working on, and we've straightened that out. The target completion date is still in March or April. We're a little behind. Cement pad will be approximately 26 by 0.3 feet by 36.3 feet, and the canopy will be 22 by 32. So if you look at your attachments, you can see an overhead of where the canopy will be located.
I was actually shocked when I saw this. Does this mean we're losing the volleyball court?
No,
No, it's right where the,
It's
No.
adjacent to that.
here, look, it's right where.
Well, no, I look at that.
No, you're right.
I'm looking
President
at the
May-
overview shot. The
He-
overview
he-
shot looks like it's
this
taking
is
over
probably a
the-
wrong version.
No,
It should be
that's
to the right.
See what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
So if you look at item
this.
2, the Rush Park
Yeah,
canopy,
okay, so just as a clarification, this page 56, aerial shot.
should be to the right.
It's here.
Okay, please update that
Yeah, I will.
for our
Yeah.
records,
Yeah.
because it looks like we're getting rid of our volleyball court.
No.
Okay.
And then
It does.
But that-
page 57 is a
Okay.
example
That's ours, right now,
Right.
that's
of the
Rush.
overhead here at Rush Park.
Okay.
And then page 58 and 59 is the location of where it'll be. And it's right across from the snack bar.
Okay,
Okay, so it'll be used in season by the Girls Softball League and then it'll be used as a rental for off-season and other, with Sundays and those type of things.
All the nannies from Rossmoor. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, I think if you look on page 61, President Maynard, there's a better depiction on the location.
Yeah, much better, thank you.
Okay?
Okay, are you done?
That concludes my report.
Okay. Director Remney, do you have any questions of the general manager items?
Yeah, a couple. The walkway out to the canopy, is that an ADA compliant one, or is that going to be replaced?
No, that's an ADA compliant.
Okay. And the second thing is when it goes to plan check, I know what it's like living under construction. What are the arrangements for the demolition of the existing and what we're going to do to be making sure that the people living around the area are not unduly being impacted by the construction? Do we have any plans for that?
Not yet. We will go out to bid for a contractor to do the demo and the installation, and there are some, I guess, requirements for us to use the dirt that we're going to be removing in other areas of our facilities, and we have to show that plan. And but besides that, no, I don't think it's going to be that big of a project that it's going to impact any of the residents around there.
Who's the project manager of record on that? Is that us?
Yes.
Okay, so as it goes to plan check then, who's the contractor of record on it?
We haven't went out to bid yet for the demo. Okay, so it's going to plan check to get approved, then we go to bid. We'll do the purchasing of the equipment, and we'll go to bid for a contractor to do the installation.
Okay, will it be coming back to us before it
Yeah, oh, yes.
goes
Yes, no.
to,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah, this board has to approve the award of the bid. So we will be going out to a competitive bid probably in January. Okay.
huh. Good enough.
The equipment will be purchased separately, and then the awarded bid for the installation will be by a contractor.
Will we get to see the schematics of that?
Yes,
Then?
I have
Because if
them.
it's going to bid in January, when will we be seeing them?
Anytime, I can bring them to the board, or we can have a meeting with
Okay.
our facilities.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Nope.
Director Shea?
No.
Director Searles?
Nothing. Thank you, Mr. Mendoza.
Okay.
Director DeMarco?
No, thank you, Joe.
Thank you. That brings us to our board member items. We'll start with Director Shea.
I'm good.
You're good, okay. Director Remney?
I've been a little bit concerned about our process for hiring the general manager. And I wrote a letter so that I can stay contained on it, because I realize it's not an agenda item. But when this was first discussed at a closed meeting in July, there was nothing to report. And we haven't had any public opportunities to meet as a board and discuss it. And now, as a new director, I'm being called to go into another closed session. And so let me just preface that and get into the letter, and I'll leave copies of it as well, because it's a request of President Maynard. Dear President Maynard, and I also need to say that I was troubled enough by the ambiguities that I have, that I went back in and I took my AB 1234 training just to make sure that I knew what I was talking about in the Ralph Brown Act. I'm writing to express my concerns about the closed session meeting for Monday, December 16th, 2024, during which the succession process for hiring a new general manager for the district is expected to advance. Given the significance of this decision, it's essential that we conduct this process with transparency, accountability, and legal compliance in line with both the letter and spirit of the Ralph M. Brown Act. I'm honored by the trust our community has placed in me through my recent election to this board. I take this responsibility seriously, and I'm committed to ensuring that our community stays informed and engaged in decisions of this size. This approach aligns with the Ralph M. Brown Act, which emphasizes that the people do not yield their sovereignty to the bodies that serve them and insist on remaining informed to retain control over the legislative bodies they've created. Yet, as a member of this board, I'm also dedicated to working collaboratively with my fellow directors, guided by mutual respect, shared responsibility, to navigate this important process in the best interest of the district. As directors, we're bound to uphold the letter and spirit of its provisions. Yet simultaneously, our district's attorney, rightly so, reminds us that breaking the confidentiality of information shared within closed sessions could expose a director to potential misdemeanor prosecution. I'm precluded from discussing these issues publicly with either my community or as a representative of this collective body, as to share information outside of meetings is a violation, and I don't want to be found serially breaching that. In conclusion, I respectfully ask that the closed session meeting be postponed and that this topic be placed on the agenda for January's regular board meeting before taking any further action. This added time would allow the board to address concerns about transparency and evidence our commitment to open governance that aligns procedures for this large commitment moving forward. Postponing the meeting would also allow a more thoughtful and legally sound hiring process, reducing the risk of procedural errors that could affect both the integrity of the selection process and the public's trust in its outcome. I'm committed to working together as we find a path forward that respects both our legal obligations and our responsibility to the community and to each other. Thank you very much for your consideration, and it's not an agenda item, and I recognize that. But this is the first and only opportunity I've had to talk with all five. Our board, our residents have never had an opportunity to speak with all of us. And I believe that with the steps we're taking, moving towards hiring a general manager, the top job in our district, that we really, in an effort of open governance, owe that to our residents. And I really think that as a board, it'll help us unite and be able to speak together, because we'll get a chance to be together and move together. Because I think that's really important for us, to not keep moving in terms of the pieces and parts, assuming that our residents know that what we're doing and that we know what we're doing. So it's just a respectful thing to consider moving forward on this.
Council. In the past, we've gone through this a few times. Our council in the past has always said that these are personnel items, these are job interviews, and these type of things are appropriate to be in closed session. Just like evaluations of employees, whether it's a general manager, reviews, et cetera. Does this still fall in best practices within government agencies to have as closed session when we're interviewing? The outcome might be we know who we want to pursue as a general manager. The outcome could also be, no, we couldn't agree that any of these people meet our needs. But these type of things, are these traditionally held in closed sessions? Because that was the process and that was the belief in how we have done this in the past.
Yes, that's standard practice. When you're conducting interviews, you do them in closed session.
That's what I thought.
Respectfully?
So,
Let me continue.
Yeah, I just want to thank you. I recognize Board Member Remne. She's concerned about the Brown Act, as am I. I want to make sure that we don't have a discussion about it, what is on, because it's not on the agenda.
Right, yeah.
So the sole item that if you wish to have any discussion of this, the question would be, do you wish to add something to our future agenda to discuss that? And I recognize that you, as the president, always have that authority. So it doesn't need to be decided now or even discussed now. You always have that authority to add something to an agenda or not.
Okay, where I'm going is we already have a scheduled meeting on this. She brought something up, so I am asking, so I did get verification that the process that we have for this Monday, there is no risk, we are not in any violation of Brown Act
No.
inappropriate
It is
improprieties?
100% legal and
Thank you.
the norm to have interviews in closed session.
That's what I thought. Okay. Thank you.
As a point of clarification, I'm not questioning the closed session. I'm mainly speaking to the effort of open governance. And it could be on any issue, whether it's hiring or not. And I appreciate all the work that's gone into this, and I intend to do that. I am limited, and I'll do the best working through. It doesn't preclude anything. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying that to take further actions in the absence of our residents' opportunities to even address the subject, since that has never been there. The information that has been obtained to the community has been through newspapers, social media, open listings, and we've never come together to talk as a board about what we're doing. And I see it from both sides of this, and I do believe that the process of the decision resides with the board, as we know, and it has nothing to do with what we're doing in the hiring process. It's mainly the opportunity to let the residents speak and let us know what they're looking for, if they have any questions, for us to talk with each other and to be able to make a unified decision moving forward.
In the closed session, the board will talk with each other.
Mm-hmm.
We will deliberate. This, four of us have been aware of the situation in closed session because of the appropriateness of closed sessions. And that's all that I can say about that. So we welcome you to come to this. I respect what you're saying. I respect, but I also do respect personnel and privacy and what can accomplish in a closed session when it is deemed appropriate to be a closed session. So,
Okay.
Director Searles.
I don't know, Director Remney, are you done with your comments?
It isn't an agenda item.
No,
So
no, I mean your overall board member
Yeah, I'm just
comments.
asking that consideration be given that before a general manager is hired, that the public has an opportunity to be able to respectfully be in an open board position, which is what the Brown Act affords us, before actions are taken in another closed session prior to their ability to enter into the processes of what we're doing, not to decide and not to weigh in and not to decide, but at least to be heard, because that is their sovereign right.
Director Schultz.
So just to understand, Director Remney, are you done with your your member comments?
I'm done.
You are?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I did not want to interrupt.
Well, I intern.
I want to welcome Director Remney. I appreciate her dedication and serving now with us. I would agree with your comments. I would like to see, I want to see your letter because it's the first time I'm
Yeah.
trying to process it, but
You can pass them down.
it's
go
it's
ahead.
not something to take action on, but I do appreciate it, and I will evaluate it. I want to thank the My Art group. The young men and women were fabulous today. Thank you to Supervisor Nguyen, Captain Patella for their appearances today. I look forward to the Winter Festival on Saturday. And lastly, just reminding our residents about the Sheriff's Department's vacation check service. It's great. They ask you to do it roughly a week in advance of any time you're going to be out, but they will follow up with you, and they're great. So please take advantage of the Sheriff's Department's vacation check if you're going to be away for any number of days during the holidays. And with that, I would wish everyone a happy holiday season.
Director DeMarco.
Yes. Yes, hope to see everybody this Saturday at the Winter Festival. Joe, what time, Carolyn, what time does it start? 4? 4 o'clock, okay. Fantastic. We should have hundreds of kids running around. I too want to thank the captain for coming down and giving us his report. And, I want to thank Kevin, who came to our traffic committee, for, stepping up and bringing to the committee and to the board information about unsafe what he feels is unsafe around the Rossmoor School, and encourage any resident who sees something or wants to make Rossmoor safer to get involved, come down to our meetings, certainly talk with the general manager, and help us improve Rossmoor. I want to congratulate my fellow directors who got elected. I want to thank all of those who supported me through my campaign. Thank you very much. Look forward to another term serving my community, and I want to wish everyone happy holidays. Thank you.
I too want to thank the captain for coming in. One of the positives yet negative is our suspicious activity calls are down. And that's always a little concern because we don't want, if you see something, say something. So encourage people to, if you see something that just seems off or a bit, be safe, take that approach to call, and then let the police find out if it's suspicious or not. So see something, say something. It was great kicking off the meeting with My Art. It's always good to see youth and help us get in the Christmas spirit. I look forward to Saturday's festival. I might be a wee bit late, so don't hold anything on my behalf. I've got a Christmas recital that I will be attending in Torrance, and I think I'm going to get here on time, but 405 freeway, so you never know. I too welcome to the board, Marianne Remne. Have a very safe holiday. Please don't drink and drive. We did have our own sobriety checkpoint this year for like the first time, and be safe out there. Which brings us to general council items.
I have nothing to add. Thank you.
There you go. Meeting adjourned.
It's a wrap.
Board, at your table, you have directions for this coming Saturday night. Starts at 4, but our formal ceremony is at 6:30.
6:30.
And talking points are in there and everything.
Oh, it's at 6, okay, 6:30, I'll be